Thanks for joining us for the Nick Hart Show, presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hen Orthodontics, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Pole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating, Robert Goob Vermillion, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Timbarge Seed, TYFL, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgel Funeral Home, Stodgel Monuments, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Vertical Tile Incorporated, Wash Boss, Young's Auto Body, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, by Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solomon Photography, Like Transport, Make Your Mark, Scherer Monuments, Southern Indiana Tire, United Fidelity Bank, Stan and Teresa Dove, by Air Evac Life Team, Ameriprise Financial, Jeremy Overton, by Engermeyer Electric, Bandit Ag LLC, Bryant Auto Center Incorporated, by Center for Pediatric Therapy, by Country Barns, by Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Full Metal Armory, by grandparent of Isaac O'Neill, Marianne O'Neill, by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Jarbo Tax Service, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm, by Cook Air, L&B Boutique, Little Miracles, Matt Walker Insurance, by Meisler Trailer Rentals, National Vet Help, Ripco Systems, by Titan Construction Partners, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department. Welcome into this week's Nick Hart Show. Alongside the Titans head football coach, Nick Hart, I'm Kyle Peach, talking about the opening round of sectional play, a look ahead to round 2 of the Indiana playoffs. The Titans coming off a shootout win over Vincennes Lincoln, 63-42. Coach, this was a game that if you liked offense, you like to watch this one. Over 1,000 yards combined between these two teams. What a knockdown, drag-out slugfest it was this past weekend.
It was, and a big win. We had talked last week about how good Vincennes was and how they had played the top of the SIC very close. So we knew it was going to be a tough game, going into it, and it lived up to it. We gave up a few more points than we'd probably like to, but I think I told one of the reporters after the game, they said it might not have been the prettiest win, and I said, well, that's where you're wrong. In the tournament, every win's pretty. So we got some things to fix and improve at, but our kids did a great job, got a win, and got us another week of football.
1,000 yards between the two, over 100 points scored, but through it all, the Titans never trailed in this game. In fact, it all started out early, a safety on a lined up for punt, and the Titans out of the gate 2-0. Then still in the first quarter, Tanner Boyd would complete to Isaac O'Neill from 17 yards out, made it 9-0 Gibson Southern. Then Vincennes Lincoln would strike Xander Hunt from 55 yards out, made it 9-7. And then the ensuing kickoff, the Titans would bring it back. Michael Herron from 83 yards out runs it all the way back in to make it 16-7. And one more score on the board for Gibson Southern in the first. A Tanner Boyd touchdown made it 23-7 Titans. But A pass from Xander Hunt to Tanner Gilbert for Vincennes Lincoln goes for 71 yards. With 3:22 to play in the first, it was 23-14. At what point did you get the sense that we were in a back and forth, highly octaned offense kind of game?
About that point, right there. I felt like we were executing at a high level offensively, and they were hitting big plays on us, and that's one thing that defensively we just got to get better at. The big plays have really hurt us the past couple of weeks, and like you have talked about, the first two touchdowns were 55 and 71 yards. We do a great job of playing defense when we make people drive the field. But the last 2 weeks, the big plays have really hurt us. It's been on the ground and in the air. So it's not just, one way or the other. But I think one thing that, maybe doesn't get thought about is, our defense had to play a lot of plays. It's great to return kickoffs for touchdowns, and we're not going to trade, the points off the board. But, when you give up a touchdown and then you run the kickoff back, your defense is right back on the field. So, I thought that made it a little bit more difficult on our defense. It's not an excuse, but we just got to do a better job of the big plays and making people drive the football, because our defense has shown that you're going to have a really hard time driving the football against us. So, doing a better job of being assignment sound and not giving up those big plays, is critical for us.
There would be three more scores that would go on the board in the second quarter. A Devin Roberts 3-yard touchdown run to make it 29-14. The extra point there was blocked with 11:18 remaining in the second period. Then Lincoln gets back on the board just seconds later, a 69-yard touchdown pass. And their point after was good to make it an 8-point game, 29-21. Then with 4:25 left in the half, Tanner Boyd takes it in from 8 yards out. The Titans would try the 2-point conversion. It would be no good, and the score at halftime would be 35-21. So the Titans had that 14-point lead. What was the message to the team at the break there at halftime?
Offensively, keep rolling. I thought we were executing at a really high level. We had a chance there right before the half to go in and get another one, and got stopped and punt and pinned them deep. Defensively, it was kind of what you and I have been talking about, is we got to limit the big plays. Their 3 touchdowns in the first half were 55, 71, and 69. They had not put a drive together yet to score. So, I felt like we were getting 3 and outs, or we were giving up long plays on a touchdown. So, that was kind of the message at the half. We were getting the ball up 14, which is always a great thing. I really like deferring because of that, that ability there to stretch the lead right whenever you come out after halftime. But, that was the message is offensively, keep it rolling, and defensively, we got to stay in front of them and make them drive the football.
Well, the Titans never relinquished the lead. Gibson Southern would see Vincennes Lincoln outscore the Titans 21-14 in the third quarter. Coach, you got your second kickoff return for touchdown in the game, an 82-yarder in that third quarter from Devin Roberts, bringing it back. But once again, that had followed a score by Vincennes Lincoln, in which the Titans were on the field defensively and then had to come right back out. They would endure another drive by the Alices that capped off with a Jackson Johnson 15-yard touchdown run to make it 49-35. They would score again before the third quarter would end, as Hunt would take it in from 11 yards out. And at that point, it was a 7-point game, 49-42, into the fourth quarter. Ever a time that you saw your team nervous, or were they up to the task going into the fourth, up only 1 score?
No, I never saw any panic. You had mentioned it. It felt like it was slipping away a little bit, but we never trailed in the game. So it's 49-42 there. We come down and answer and stretch it back out to 14. So I felt like, other than when they cut it to 7 there in the third quarter, we answered every time that they were able to cut it to 14. we were able to answer. So that was about the only time where it kind of felt like when they got it to 7, like, oh boy. But we came out and answered there, which was huge. And, then our defense, played really well there in the fourth quarter. I think we calmed down a little bit. And when you're not used to giving up a lot of points, I think what happened to us is we just started doing things that you're not accustomed to doing. And guys are trying to make plays to help the team out, but in turn, we're kind of losing our discipline in the back end and with what we do.
Well, in the end, the Titans would then go into the fourth quarter and not allow Vincennes to score. Again, the Titans would cap off the game. A Devin Roberts 19-yard touchdown with 10:13 remaining, and then a pass from Tanner Boyd to Zach Butler from 4 yards out with 2:34 to put the game away. Titans go on to that 63-42 win. Again, every win, as you said, this time of year is pretty, no matter how you get there. And the Titans give up some points, but in the end get the win, 63-42. When we come back here on the Nick Hart Show, we'll dive a little deeper into sectional 30 play, tell you how other teams from the Pocket Athletic Conference fared, and then we'll get into the matchup, the big battle of unbeatens in sectional 30 coming up Friday night as the Titans travel to Owen Valley. We've got that for you as the show continues. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Nick Hart Show, presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including AgriGold, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Brett's Car Care, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, DuBois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, the Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hen Orthodontics, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Pole Concrete Construction, and Pro Rehab. Support provided by Wabash General Hospital, now offering MyChart, allowing patients secure digital access to their health information, including allowing you to message your provider with clinical questions, scheduling and changing appointments, electronically checking in for appointments, and viewing billing balances anytime, anywhere. Sign up for MyChart is available at WGHMyChart.com. MyChart at Wabash General Hospital, another example of people you know helping people you love.
Back here on the Nick Hart Show, postseason play underway in Indiana in sectional 30. As we know, Vincennes gets a win. Gibson Southern gets a win over Vincennes, as we just detailed, 63-42. Meanwhile, Owen Valley, the other unbeaten team in sectional 30, they also get a first-round win in their sectional opener, as they beat Mount Vernon 35-14. We'll talk more about that game here in just a little bit as we get you set for the matchup with the Patriots on Friday night. But diving in, looking at other teams from the pocket, Boonville moves on to the second round. They beat Harrison 41-21. The season comes to an end for the Princeton Tigers at the hands of West Vigo 31-20. Washington's season ends at small school pocket rival Pike Central's hands, 28-7. Southridge moves on with a 47-20 win over North Harrison. Heritage Hills blanks Madison 32-0. So the three teams sitting at the top of the PAC Big School standings, Gibson Southern, Boonville, and Heritage Hills, all still alive. North Posey beats Forest Park to move on. Tell City over Crawford County. Tecumseh beats South Spencer 35-27. Obviously, you want to kind of root for your conference foes at this point, as long as you're not seeing them in the playoffs. And nice to see Boonville and Heritage Hills moving on.
Yeah, we always root for our conference to do well in the tournament. I think it helps your conference with notoriety, and we have a lot of good people in our league, coaches and ADs and everybody else that you want to see be successful throughout the tournament. So pretty good showing for the conference on Friday.
As you look at where everybody else is stacking up, it will be Boonville hosting Wrights on Friday night. Heritage Hills will visit Charlestown. That's a 6 o'clock Central Time start on Friday. That's going to give you our pocket wrap. When we come back, we'll get you set for the Titans matchup with the Patriots of Owen Valley. That's as the Nick Hart Show continues. Stay with us.
The Nick Hart Show is presented each week by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, made possible by Robert's Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, Robert Goob Vermillion, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Tim Barge Seed, TYFL, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgill Funeral Home, Stodgill Monuments, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Vertical Tile Incorporated, Wash Boss, Young's Auto Body, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, by Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solomon Photography, Like Transport, Make Your Mark, Scherer Monuments, Southern Indiana Tire, United Fidelity Bank, Stan and Teresa Dove, by Air Evac Life Team, and by Ameriprise Financial, Jeremy Overton. Back here on the Nick Hart Show, Coach Hart will be back with us in just a moment as we look to break down the matchup between the two unbeatens in Sectional 30, the 10-0 Patriots of Owen Valley and the 10-0 Titans of Gibson Southern. It's up at Owen Valley. Get set for that 2-hour road trip on Friday if you're a Titans fan. Meanwhile, let's take a look at how that matchup works itself out here. Gibson Southern is ranked second in the final AP and coaches polls of the season. Owen Valley is ranked 8th in the AP poll. They're ranked 6th in Class 3A in the coaches poll. So a battle of two top 6 teams, in essence, in the sectional semifinals of all things on Friday night. Meanwhile, more on this Owen Valley team. Coming in, they lead the state across all classes in terms of offensive average, averaging 51.3 points per game. That's tops in the state. Gibson Southern, they score a lot of points too, averaging 41.3, but the Titans are 26th in the state in terms of overall average. We would tell you that Gibson Southern's 8th in 3A in scoring there, while Owen Valley, of course, is first in Class 3A. And you look at the defensive side of things, and Owen Valley is right there amongst the mix, amongst some of the state's best in terms of fewest points allowed at 16.7 points allowed defensively. Meanwhile, the Titans in points allowed at 16.9, so very similar in terms of defense stinginess is concerned. Now, you would also look to think about the Titans' strength of schedule. Remember, we started the year against 2 5A schools in Terre Haute South and New Albany. We throw in South Warren, a defending state champ in their own right out of the state of Kentucky. So Gibson Southern certainly would tout their strength of schedule. As you look at the schedule for Ron Gibson's Patriots of Owen Valley, they're in Class 3A. They won at Brown County to start the year, a 2A school, and it was a drubbing, 77-7. Then they beat South Putnam, a 1A school, 57-34. Their closest game, arguably, of the season went to overtime against Class 3A's Indian Creek, a conference game, and Owen Valley won that game by the final of 41-39. Indian Creek is 7-3 heading into their sectional semifinal matchup here this week. Meanwhile, Owen Valley won at 4A Edgewood 57-7. They won against 4A Northview 28-7. They won at Sullivan 40-32. All of those schools were conference schools in the Western Indiana Conference. And then in non-league play, again, they won against Brown County and South Putnam. They also won at 1A Eastern Green 61-7. They won against 2A Greencastle 48-7. They won at 1A Cloverdale 69-13. And then if we compare scores, we can do that with their first sectional matchup. They won in the quarterfinals of the sectional against Mount Vernon, a Pocket Athletic Conference opponent, 35-14. You'll recall that Gibson Southern beat Mount Vernon 35-7. So that's how we can do some scoring comparisons for you. And as you know, we use the website calpreps.com here often to project the matchups. It's a ranking service that projects the result of every high school football game across the country. And as you look at their projections, which are fairly accurate, Cal Preps has Gibson Southern winning this game by a 41-31 margin. We'll see if that projection holds as the game is played on Friday night. Coming up next, Nick Hart returns. We'll get his thoughts on the Patriots of Owen Valley, get you set for that big showdown on Friday night. Stay with us as the Nick Hart Show continues. The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Engermeyer Electric, Banded Ag LLC, Bryant Auto Center Incorporated, by Center for Pediatric Therapy, by Country Barns, by Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Drosty's Jewelry Shops, Edward Jones Financial Advisor Jason Rainey, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Full Metal Armory, by grandparent of Isaac O'Neill, Marianne O'Neill, by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum LLC, Jarbo Tax Service, Casey Gray, Fuquay State Farm, by Cook Air, L&B Boutique, Little Miracles, Matt Walker Insurance, by Meisler Trailer Rentals, National Vet Help, Ripco Systems, by Titan Construction Partners, Whitledge Tree Service LLC, and by Wabash Valley College.
Back here on the Nick Hart Show, getting you set for the Titans Sectional 30 semifinal matchup with the Patriots of Owen Valley. It's a 7 o'clock local time kick. Friday night, our pregame show on 89.1 The Bash will begin at 6:45. A battle of unbeatens in Sectional 30. The Titans and the Patriots of Owen Valley both at 10-0. We have long documented the fact that the ping pong balls were not nice to the Titans with the way the Sectional 30 seedings went. To give you the indication of what we're talking about, in the other semifinal, it's the 4-6 West Vigo against the 2-8 Pike Central. And then on the top half of the bracket, you've got the two undefeateds, Gibson Southern and Owen Valley, squaring off. Coach, obviously a tough draw to get there, but this is the game that I guess everybody in Sectional 30 had circled from the time that you kind of see the end of the regular season results. Thoughts on the matchup with Owen Valley heading into Friday?
Yeah, very good football team. They're very well coached. Those guys have done a great job of turning that program around in a short amount of time. So, you kind of look at them over the past 2 years. They're 10-0 this year. I think they went 11-2 last year. So in their 2 years there, they've done a great job. Those kids know how to win. They haven't experienced a lot of loss. So, they're going to expect to win on Friday. They're going to come in ready to win. And, we're going to have to handle the trip. You got to do that before you even get there. So you got to handle the trip. And the nice thing is, it's one reason why in our non-conference, we try and have one trip every year. So we kind of get used to that. We see what we, could do better, how we handle things. So, we've done that before. It's been a while. But week one going to Terre Haute, it's a very similar trip. So, we got to handle that. That shouldn't be a problem. But they present a lot of challenges. I think at one time, I don't know if they still are, they had scored the most points in the state of Indiana. I think offensively, they're really balanced in what they do. Run the ball, throw the ball equally well. And, they present some unique stuff too. They look a lot like us formationally in what they're doing offensively. But then they'll jump in double tight wishbone as well. So you almost have to prepare for two different offenses as you go into Friday night. And I think that kind of presents some challenges in it as well. But they do a great job with everything that they do offensively. They're really efficient and execute at a really high level. They don't have very many turnovers on the year. They take care of the football. So again, for us, I think the big thing is when you look at us the last couple of weeks, we got to limit big plays and make them drive the football down to earn points.
The Patriots hail out of the Western Indiana Conference, the Gold Division. They won that league with a 4-0 mark. The other teams in that conference in the Gold Division, Northview, Indian Creek, Sullivan, and Edgewood, are some of the conference teams that they that they face. And Coach, this is, as you mentioned, a drive somewhere in the ballpark of 2 hours to the north. What's the game plan for travel? When will you guys be departing for the game, and what's the travel itinerary look like?
Yeah, we're gonna leave school a little early, about 45 minutes early from school, and hop on the bus, and we'll stop about halfway and have a walk through and let them get out and stretch their legs a little bit, and get back on the bus and get to Owen Valley and get ready to play football. So, it's pretty standard from what we normally do. And like I said, we're used to it. We've done it plenty the past 2 years. These kids know, what being on a bus is like, and having to show up and be ready to play. So, and honestly, in a playoff game, that can't be an excuse, right? Like the travel, it doesn't become an issue. You don't want your season to end because you couldn't handle a trip well enough. So, it's not a concern at all. They're a concern because of what they've been able to do this season and some of the players that they have. But it should be a fun night for football. I think the atmosphere is going to be phenomenal.